Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the spinning wheel for the games that I acquired during the Steam Summer Sale 2023. Let's spin the wheel, find out what I'm going to play. Hopefully it's something good. Just kidding. All of these games. We're not gonna get Archon. We're gonna start with Blade Assault. Blade Assault. All right. Let's get to it. Hey everybody. So Blade Assault, is totally a game. It's a really interesting little monkey. Let's talk about it a little bit. So this is an action platformer hack and slash type of game, that is also roguelite. Yeah, if you die, as I did, I think in the gameplay footage, if I ramble as long as I intend to, that you will see me both lose to the boss and die, and also defeat the boss and look like a complete champion who actually knows how to play the game. So, yeah, both outcomes happen in the gameplay footage. Should we make it that far, and I certainly hope that we do. Anyway, so this is a game developed by Team Suniat. I don't know them at all, but they are published by NeoWiz, the people who put out Skull, the Hero Killer, the defeater of the Hero Slayer. That's what he's called. Skull, the little purple skull dude. You've seen this game. It has been suggested to you in your feed. Anyway, so yeah, Blade Assault here, it's very much, beat 'em up-ish, but with platforming as well. And it also is the roguelike, roguelite, in that, you improve your character over time. But here's the other fun thing, is that as you improve your character over time, the difficulty level adjusts accordingly. So it's not just like you can, grind away and then it's impossibly easy. Like, there's always a challenge to the game, and you can drop the difficulty level. They call it the danger level. There are like little merchant type guys that you can talk to that do all sorts of different things. There is the guy who does the training, who helps you access your skill tree. There is the blacksmith, of course, weaponsmith. He works on your weapons. There is a guy who sells armaments and whatnot out of a limousine that you pull up in between stages, and that's kind of a fun mechanic. Like, it's very cyberpunky, if I have not said that already. Cyberpunk, and shall I say it again, cyberpunk. Anyway, yeah, so you do have a skill tree, but you have to spend the in-game currency to upgrade your character. So there are upgrades that you can make during the level while you are playing, and then there are upgrades that you can make as you go along. And there's also a story that goes along with this game, and there is some lore, but it feeds it to you in, pretty steady bunches. Nothing too heavy all at once, which I appreciate, because if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, how much I hate it when a game is like, we're getting top heavy with the lore. We're just gonna, burden you down with all the lore of this world in which the game takes place in, and you're just sitting there as a player like, could you tell this to me while I'm going shooty shoot shoot? Because that's the part I like, is the shooty shoot shoot, or whatever it is that the action of the game is. And so, yeah, this game feeds it to you bit at a time, and as you pass certain thresholds, it moves you along in the game, and it has kind of a, the story, as far as I've gotten into it, has a sort of Dishonored vibe, like you're being used as like a mercenary for this government of this utopian society that of course has a dark underbelly, very common cyberpunk fodder kind of a deal. It's it's what you'd expect, more or less. And so you're not going to be blown away with story, as far as I know. I obviously have not played all the way through it, but I have played an interesting amount of it, to where I am interested in the characters and who they are and why they're involved in the different ways that they are. It's interesting. It's not nothing. Anyway, so let's talk about the thing about this game that drives me the most crazy, that I like the least, is the control scheme. Holy Moses. This thing is set up to play with keyboard because you have so many controls. You have a normal attack and a dash and a skill and a charged and a all these other different things that you have. And it's a lot of things that you can do in game, and pull off some combos and hit some special moves and whatnot, and then recharge those special moves, like a nice modern hack and slash type of deal ought to be. I'm thinking of the fact that Guacamelee, which is one of my favorite games that is not loved enough. Not enough people know it, not enough people love it, and that's just, as I traverse the world of gamers, not enough people know, care, and love that game. So that's just been my experience. Maybe you and everyone loves it, but it's not been my experience that the game is well known or well loved enough, given how good it is. Regardless, that game you can play with a controller, and it has a wild number of difficult combos that you can pull off, all with, just a few. I don't even think it utilizes every single button on the controller. And there's like a bajillion combos for you to learn. And it's all done, with combo, 2D fighting game style combos, where you can access it easily with a controller. Direction button and attack button, produces a certain result, that kind of a thing. But this game, it is all keys on your keyboard, and so it has you moving around the world with your arrow keys, and of course these are remappable. You can remap them, but there's so many of them, because normally I would just be like, yes, of course, remap, let's go. There are so many of them that I didn't even bother to remap them, because I was like, I'm not gonna remember all that, even if I remap it. So the controls are a little convoluted. Well, no, they're more than a little convoluted. They're pretty darn convoluted. And you'll find yourself, and this is something that I hate, and you'll notice this if you've been watching closely the footage of the gameplay, you'll notice that I am using the same basic moves again and again and again, because that's what's easy to do, because it's so complicated. It just, I wish the controls were more simplified. And do I have, a definite fix for that in mind? I don't like to fault a video game for things that I can't look at and say, well, here's how you fix that. Here's how you make that better. You know, it's one thing to say like the game is bad, but a lot of times, you know, if you can offer like, well, here's what would make it good, or here's the frustrating part of a good game, which that's what this is. Blade Assault is a good game. Let me just say that out loud right now. You're not going to be surprised by the positive review at the end of this review. You're not going to be surprised by the number. That's just not happening, because I really did like this game. Controls tight, plays really well, really satisfying tactile, you know, sound design. The weapons sound good. The weapon hits sound amazing. You have a weapon that sounds legitimately like a lightsaber, and it's a little disconcerting at first, but eventually you're like, oh no, I'm schniggity snack Jedi. Like it's it's pretty awesome. So yeah, from a tactile point of view, this game is awesome. It's everything it should be. You know, and if you like this sort of game, you know, I'm thinking like, you know, 20xdx. This is, instead of, you know, because 20xdx was, you know, Mega Man roguelike. This is more like, oh, what would I compare this to, honestly? Because, Bladed Fury. Yeah, Bladed Fury, if you've played that game. There's another game that's not loved enough. Really, really great. I believe it's Chinese. Don't fault me. I'm like fairly certain that it's Chinese. But it's a hack and slash with very strong cultural elements. Yeah, it's like that, but roguelike. So that's very satisfying. I like that. I like every piece of that. I like every part of it. I think it's great. So absolutely gameplay wise, satisfaction wise of the entire package, yes, absolutely. I really liked this game. I thought it was a lot of fun. But, and this is a big but, a ginormous, badonkedly donkilish but, the controls drive me crazy. Like, it's a problem. It's enough of a problem for it to be a problem, for it to affect how much I enjoy this game, because I wanted to enjoy it even more. And by the way, Bladed Fury is another game with, like, you know, hack and slash and lots of combos and stuff. Controller. You just use the controller. And the fact that this thing does not have a default controller scheme, the default is keyboard. It just doesn't. I mean, normally this game is $18. Let's say that up front. Like, it is in that range of, you know, an indie game that you charge more for because, you know, some real work and manpower was put into the creation of the game. So there are certain expectations that you have. Now, granted, you know, I got this during Steam Summer Sale. I probably paid like $4 for it at most, I think. And so, like, even there, my expectation is like, hey, controller support, like a native control scheme that you can play with a controller, you know, like Castle Crashers, another good, you know, comparison, except for Castle Crashers is like open ground hack and slash, And this is platform hack and slash, so a little bit different. But still though, the ability to do it with controller is a necessity, I feel, because it's such a common way for people to play. Look, I have nephews who are, and nephews and nieces. We'll not just call out the nephews and nieces, for whom this is a thing. They would prefer to play everything with a keyboard and mouse. Just all the things. They would prefer to play with keyboard and mouse. And that's fine. Cool. That's you. That's your choice. But you know what? Give me the option. Give me the option. At this price point, give me the option. Because I feel like the way that you can map this out on a controller would be so much easier to deal with. Because when you have too many keystrokes that do things with a keyboard in a game is too much. It's just too much to remember, and it's too hard to do. Anyway, so Blade Assault, it's a really good game. Let's put a final score on it. Frustrations, good things. Let's see it how it washes out. Okay, I've thought about this a lot. I am going 7.5 out of a possible 10. G from Bladed Fury, the main character from Bladed Fury. Awesome. Like, look at the character, look at her awesome sword, and think about swinging that in action, hack and slash, super fun, like combo methods and whatnot to like rack up massive combos against hordes of enemies in super cool, well-designed levels with heavy Chinese cultural elements. But like Imperial China, anyway, yeah, it's a whole thing. So yeah, I love that game, and I'm not gonna have a problem shilling for that game, which I feel is underloved when I'm putting a review on this game. They both have blades in the title. But Blade Assault, here's the thing. I can't fault this game too badly, because I did enjoy it. And I know that if I put in the work, because here I looked through the reviews on Steam, and here's what people had to say about it. They were super frustrated that the development team has just sort of left it on the wayside because they got another project that they were working on, that they were putting their actual time and interest in, or I don't know, maybe their team fell apart, or who knows. But yeah, I don't remember the exact details. But the developer, for whatever reason, is like, and so, which is not normally the thing that happens for a game like Blade Assault. It doesn't feel like these types of games get abandoned as much. But yeah, people's main frustrations with this game came from the fact that either it was abandoned, and they're like, well, what if it needs fixing, and indeed that leads to the second complaint that people have about it, and that's the controls. But finally, the third group of people who reviewed this game were like, no, it's super fun, loved it, it was awesome. And those people they remapped the controls so that they could play it. And I think to a person, they're like, yeah, if you just remap the controls, it's fine. Or maybe some of them were playing with stock controls. I have no idea. I believe there is one of them who legitimately was like, yeah, just remap the controls. But Anyway, I think it's the sort of thing where I should pull out my Steam controller, you know. Remember when Steam went from selling the Steam controller for like, I don't know, $50 or whatever it was, to selling it during the Steam sale for $5? Man, I should have bought 4 of those. I bought one. But anyway, like, because of its ability to be easily programmed to control games within Steam, which everything that they learned from that apparently went into the Steam Deck, which I would love to own someday. This is a long-term goal, own a Steam Deck. Anyway, we are meandering and rambling too much. I promised the rambling wouldn't go away. I didn't promise it would be all I do. So wrap it up. Anyway, Blade Assault, apparently if you take the time to remap the controls, or if you just take the time to get used to them, apparently super much fun. But if you're upset because it's no longer supported by the developer, and so any community that there might be around this game or anything like that is gone, basically, if that upsets you, then, you know, that's a valid feeling. You can feel that way about it. That's totally fine. And if you played it and you were like, these controls are so infuriating, yeah, I totally understand that. But I could figure them out enough to like do what I needed to do. Maybe if I played later into the game, I might be more like, I really need to remap these. So anyway, that is the long and the short of it. And speaking of that, if you have watched this entire video, perhaps you have wasted your time. I'm kidding. No, that's not true. This is the first video that I will be trying the short versions for. So if you see a second video review of this game, just know that that's actually the short form version of it. That's what it is. Anyway, yeah, enjoy. That be the review. 7.5 out of 10. I've enjoyed getting back into the reviewing. Hope to do some more of it. This will post later. This is going to be, I'm just going to start scheduling some things out so that as work starts back up again for me here soon, that I'll be on top of everything. So anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for being fans of the channel. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.